love this verse. It's a verse all of us need to take to heart. And it's a simple verse, but it explains so much about life. Above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. In other words, everything I say and do flows from my heart. Every word, every action flows from my heart. And so here's how I want to demonstrate it this morning. And my kids are here in this service. And they're going to know what this is. But in our home, we call this the love jug. Our heart is the love jug. And we keep one of these under our sink in our home. That anytime we feel an excessive emotional reliance on other people, I pull this jug out, and it's usually, met with a, no. And I'm like, oh no, the love jug's out, lecture begins. And you will sit there or you will surely die. So, what I do then, and this is so much fun, and I encourage every parent, you gotta go home, get a love jug, keep it under the counter, and bore your kids to death with this as often as you can. But I know they'll get it. And what I start doing is I start pulling out glasses from all over the cupboards, representing the people in our lives. And the first thing I share with them is, I'm in charge of my spiritual journey, right? I'm in charge of my heart. What comes out of my mouth and the actions that I take throughout the day, Ted Cunningham, 100% responsible. It's the first thing I want my kids to learn about their hearts, right? You are 100% responsible for your heart, not the people around you. You have to tend to your spiritual journey first and foremost. But then there's gonna be all sorts of people that you come in contact with through the day, and you determine how and how much and when you pour into them. So the first person in my life is who? My wife. Now, I grew up in an independent, fundamental, premillennial, King James Version only Baptist church. This glass is not approved, I can tell you that right now. This is a North Point glass right here, so. Okay, but that does represent my wife. Bound, bound, chicka, chicka, bound, bound, I'm telling you. So, I come out in the morning, and I love it. I've gotten, ready for the day, and I get to pour into my wife. The average man speaks 7,000 words a day. The average woman speaks 20,000 words a day. Man, I'm just giving her my words, filling her up. And I always love to give to my wife. And then, after we got married, we said our life is missing something. We need something that brings us joy and energy and excitement and keeps things flowing around the home and keeps it at a happy tone and pace throughout the home. So we need to have kids, right? And so we had a daughter, and Corinne May came into the world 10 years ago, and we started pouring into her. And the average woman speaks 20,000 words a day. The average man speaks 7,000 words a day. She speaks about 80,000 words a day. Our daughter is more social than the rest of our family and extended family combined. She loves people, so we pour into her. And one night we were sitting around after we had Corinne, and we said, we are so good at this parenting thing. We should bless the earth with more of our children. So we had Carson. He's now my 8-year-old son. You know what we're doing next weekend? My son is passionate about Bear Grylls' Man vs. Wild. And so I'm going to take him out into the woods on an overnight trip, true story, next weekend, with nothing but a knife and a canteen. Yeah. He doesn't know that we're going to the woods right behind Cracker Barrel. I've kind of kept that from him. But I love my son, and I pour into him, right? I'm pouring into him. And then I've got my parents. This one's going to represent both my mom and dad. And I love my parents. My dad, he is a blast. My dad retired at age 52 and watches way too much Fox News. I'll just be real honest with you. Watches it all day long. I come over in the house, for dinner at night, and I'll be like, hey, Dad, how's it going? To which he responds, well, we're going to hell in a handbasket. That's how it's going. Good to see you, Dad. Glad everything's all right. I told you need to watch more Joel Osteen. All right? I didn't think I was going to actually say that. So anyway, but it works. But I go, Dad, you can't listen to the news cycle every 30 minutes. You need sad, happy. You need to. This little shot glass represents my mother-in-law. And try to give her just a little bit. I told him it would have been so much better to pull a flask out from here. But Joel's away this weekend, so I was gonna borrow his. So, and then what? We go to work. We go to work, and we've got a boss that has expectations and demands on us. And then we've got that person in the cubicle next to us that sucks the life right out of us. You have that person next to you. Yeah, and we pour all day long. Now look at what's happened. And I love this illustration. It takes me there, and it reminds me every single day. My love jug's running low. We're getting on empty. Here is what we need to understand. So as I pour into all of these people, you have to ask yourself the question, what's actually flowing out of you? What's flowing out of you? Jesus put it this way when he was questioned about his disciples eating with unwashed hands. They said, I can't believe you dishonor the traditions of the elders. And here's what Jesus said. He had a biology lesson to help explain this. And again, what great lessons that we can pour into our kids. We find this in Matthew chapter 15. Don't you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? Great biology lesson. It's not what goes into us that makes us unclean, but it's what flows out of us. But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, and slander. Our actions and our words, they're flowing from the heart. So we're responsible for what comes out of this. But here's what we want to look at today and spend a little bit of time with: codependency. Okay? Because codependency is sitting around with an empty or near empty love jug, waiting for all of these people to pour back into me. I'm waiting. I've given you so much. I've given you so many words. I've spent time with you. I've given you my energy. I've given you my resources. Now, why are you not pouring back into me? So let me give you a simple definition of codependency. Codependency plugs into people, places, or things as the source of life. We begin to wait and depend on other people to fill us up.